Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum, which you should definitely all join. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you? Then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Flatzoid, 10th Man, Paul, Arwin, and a whole bunch of people on Discord. Very good to have you one and all.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Now, my idea to stop me from actually having to take part in the debate, unless someone actually from the other side wants to engage me, which is fair enough, I'm going to get you guys to do the housekeeping questions, hopefully reasonably concisely. We'll see how this goes.
I'll start it off. Any signs of Earth curvature?
Nope.
Not
Not
particularly,
really.
no.
Anyone in Discord?
I'll take the other one since no one's speaking. Any signs of axial rotation of the Earth base variety?
No.
Nope, definitely not.
All right. Arwen, why don't you take a few?
Yeah. Well, you would have to actually have some kind of proof of an axis first, even.
Shout out to
Any
Colin
sign
Turner
of-
for hitting the super chat. Thank you very much indeed for your support.
Any signs of gravity?
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Of gravity.
Yeah, we definitely got signs of gravity. No.
Nope.
If you define gravity as relative density, it's all over the place. So it just depends on how you define gravity.
Yeah, it's very easy to replace. I basically reverse engineered gravity using relative density right now, and yeah, it seems pretty stable.
But science is anyway not gone through the scientific method, so
Now, relative density has, but gravity has not.
Well, this is working well. Anybody from Discord going to engage anybody about these housekeeping questions? Clearly not.
Maybe they're waiting for us to finish. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth?
too much presupposing.
Well, how about just something molten? A molten layer.
Like
And-
chocolate.
Anything beyond just a local volcanic pocket, you know?
Yeah.
Like Yellowstone isn't basically every time some kind of volcanic activity is pointed at in the news or whatever geology, it's
Yeah.
always a pocket. Remember? It's always like some red thing bulge, whatever, on top of the presupposed core or whatever. But
Yes. Yes, but how deep
so
is
there
that?
are these places apparently where, yeah, there might be some volcanic activity for some reason. But does that really go that deep? I don't think there's any proof for that.
Well, even if it was a dormant, and then it becomes an active volcano, and it's covered for hundreds of years, if not longer, or if it's covered by water, it's still that one area only.
Oh, by the way, something interesting. It's not housekeeping exactly, but it was interesting.
I'll just keep it
I
to
heard
after. There's only 2 more questions.
Yeah, let's finish the housekeeping.
All right.
Has everyone lost track of which questions haven't been asked? I bet they have.
Gas. Any
Pressure?
scientific
Go on, hold on.
evidence?
Go on, Owen.
Any signs or any proof of gas pressure next to a vacuum?
No.
Oh, you.
No.
Hey, let's go there first.
Let me just phrase it. Right.
Gas pressure
Any
without
evidence?
a container?
Precisely. Say again, Owen.
Yeah. Any evidence of something without the necessary antecedent? Anything?
Any evidence of gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container, or to shorten it, any evidence of gas pressure without a container.
The antecedent of a container.
The necessary antecedent is a container, yeah. There's only one more question. Did you cover two?
No.
Did you cover the distance to the sun yet?
No, and we got the R value still.
Indeed. 2 more. Paul? I'm going to get Paul, hopefully, to ask one of those.
Mute.
Whichever
He's
he
on
wants.
mute.
I'm sorry. I got distracted for a second. Say that again.
There's only you're not going to do very well here. There's only 2 more housekeeping questions. Pick either of the 2 that are left over, because obviously you know which 2 are left over, don't you?
Well, let me think here a second. No, I don't. So go ahead. Get somebody else to do it. I got sidetracked. Sorry about that. So I lost track where everything was at.
Paul, are you one of those children that sit at the back of the class when the teacher's explaining something and you're just daydreaming?
Yeah, he's a very busy man.
Secretly
I'll
chatting
take
on
it.
his mobile.
It's called
But
Lily.
also, I've got children and people in the background. Yeah, exactly. Lily. Called Lily.
It's a Lily factor.
Right.
Any evidence of the radius of the Earth, the R value?
Nope.
No. Last but by no means least.
There is an R value.
Come on, Arvin. The last one's your beloved.
My beloved?
Yeah, the sun. Ask the
Oh,
sun.
Yeah.
I can do.
Is
I can
there
do that
any
one actually.
evidence
If you want me to.
of a
You've mustered us up already, Alan. Go ahead, Paul.
any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Hooray!
Measure, based on measurements, not deduction.
Nope, definitely not.
Any evidence of a physical nature of the sun?
It's intangible.
Oh, nobody
Define
challenged the word of it.
physical nature. Define physical.
Okay, well, physical has to be tangible. That's even synonymous. Therefore, the tangibility also allows it to have an actual location within the confine of the material world, instead of only being optical in nature. And that brings all kinds of things like triangulatability, approachability, and proximity.
Let me see if I can answer that. I see it. I feel the heat from it. And it's here for half the day. And it's very consistent. That's how tangible it is to me.
Yes, we can just observe it. That's all.
So where does the tangibility, the physical interaction, that's tange is literally like grab onto. Where's the tangibility come in?
It's called the heat source. It is emanating a heat source from it.
Is it?
Well,
is it a heat source like a heat lamp? Because a heat lamp requires proximity to actually receive the heat.
Well, hang on. When it's not here, the heat's not here. When it's here, the heat is here. If it happens to be a different time of the year where it's there, but the heat is less felt, that's due to other factors, but it's still there.
Okay.
and it's still lighting.
I've got a definition
But
for
that's a
physical on the screen.
correlation. That's not a causation, really.
Oh, look, until I go there and touch it, I can't answer those scientific method means. But what I can say is through observation that when it's here, it's lit. The whole, I mean, we get daylight from it, just like we get. What's that?
Okay,
Of
look,
course,
this is
light
flat
is
Earth debate.
definitely
At the
there.
moment, you're just both stating the bloody obvious. No offense.
No, but we like to speculate. Housekeeping's over anyway. So, right. Well,
This is
as far as
I've got
I
the definition for physical on screen.
okay, as far as I understand, when it comes
Can
to
you guys hear
sun
me?
interaction, there's
Yeah, we hear you.
light
We hear you,
coming from
Chocolate.
that direction, and we know that that light, when it actually is absorbed by matter, especially something dark, that we can feel that light then being transferred into heat. And if you cover it with shadow, then there's not as much heat coming from that object. And that's how we can deduce that the interaction of the light coming from the direction of the apparent sun disk, that is where the heat is caused. So it's not like a radiating lamp that you can approach and then feel the heat. And I think this could be measurable even by having an isolated box and just approach it or apparently approach the sun with a balloon or whatever. Have this box exposed to the sunlight and just see how much heat is transferred.
Well, the noonday sun, when it's over my head, is always hotter than when it's rising or setting.
But it's still not tangible at the end of the day, sir.
Well, we don't know. It's a light in the sky.
Define tangible.
Thank you. It's a light in the sky, and when it's there, we feel heat from it. Other than touching it, that's what it is.
Nobody's defined tangible.
Perceptible by touch.
Here we go. Perceivable by touch. There you go. It's on screen.
Like I said, grasp, literally, tange, to cling on, to grab it, touchable.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. If you look at physical, it talks about things that are conceived by the five senses. I can see a fire and touch a fire with my hand because the heat is so intense that I can't touch the fire itself. So is the fire still physical?
That's weird that they put it in that sense. Is
I'm
it
just saying,
is it
that's
the
why
right?
the words
Is it
are
the
very-
context? But is it in the context of physics or in the context of physiology?
It's called first degree.
Well, the second
burns.
If you look at the second definition, it's the things perceived through the senses as opposed to the mind, tangible or concrete. So if you say the sun is not physical, that means it's just a construct of the mind.
Okay. Well, then I think that visible it's basically put into that optical and physical is there put together, opposing purely conceptual then. But I do find it a bit.
Well,
off
are you
that
looking
it's
at
in
it with
there.
your senses?
Yeah.
Are you using one of your senses? So it's not. It's physical.
Well, according to this thing, there is, but I have just it feels off. So I'd like to compare that with other sources, because that seems very confusing to me.
I wouldn't say it's physical. I mean, you've seen
Well,
a hologram.
it's right. Physical, visible is not physical.
I think what Paul is asking you, Arwen, is if you use your senses, what does that tell you in the real world experience that you're having? And then maybe go look up a definition. But what is your senses telling you before you find the definition?
My senses tell me. In what context?
Ask it again, Paul.
If you're perceiving something in the world through your senses, it's physical. So if I'm looking at mountains and trees out, off my deck, I can't physically reach out and touch that tree. It's not in that sense of the word, but or not physical. It's not tangible. can't go out. I mean, I
You
can if I
have to
walk
touch
over and touch
something
the
to
tree.
say
I
if
can
it's
touch it.
physical or not.
So,
Look,
but the perception of it. So that tree is still physical because I'm perceiving it through my one of my senses, which is my
Right.
eyes.
So have you ever touched a tree in your life?
I have. I can. I mean,
Right.
my
So
point is
then
at the
we're
moment I
gonna
can't.
compare that memory of the physical interaction with the visual correlation, and then you might be inclined to conclude that, yeah, just like back then, this is probably a physical object. You have no absolute certainty though until you can actually physically confirm it. But yeah, people tend to go on past in physical interaction experiences in assuming what things are.
So,
If
Arwen,
they haven't seen
What if
anything like something, a phenomena before, they might be puzzled because they have no recollection of physically interacting with it.
Arwen, have you ever
does
felt heat?
that
Have you ever felt heat from a non-physical or physical source? Have you ever felt heat from an aberration?
What? A what from?
Heat.
Heat?
Yes, heat.
It's hard to tell.
What do you mean it's hard to tell?
Sometimes I have sensations where literally spontaneously heat starts to arrive at what seems to be nerve, like my solar plexus, for example, and just incredible heat comes out of nowhere. So yeah, there are definitely weird phenomena
hang on.
where I cannot understand the source of the heat. Really, it doesn't seem like a
what?
normal physical
Hang on,
metabolic
hang on.
side effect.
You're stating something that would give mankind a lesser gas bill each month if you can prove it.
Well, why don't you check with the Shaolin monks? They have people that can literally just sit out there in the middle of the freezing snow and everything will melt around them, even though they're barely
Okay,
clothed.
well, wait a minute.
So,
Let's talk about that for a second. We can go with the monks for a second. Are the monks physical?
yeah,
Okay. If they're radiating heat, can you sense that heat with your physical senses?
probably, yeah. I haven't personally
So
tested it.
something's going on. So that is not an intangible thing. I'm sorry. It's not a mental construct. That's a physical reaction.
No, but it is an
occurring
aberration
in the real
because
world.
we don't understand how that energy arrives.
You may not.
It's
You may
not
not
like
know
the
the
person that
cause.
does that needs to eat
You don't
more.
know the cause.
The
I didn't
person
know. The
doesn't
thing
need
is, you
to
don't know
eat.
what's causing it. It
The
doesn't matter. I
person,
mean, my point is, you don't know the cause of that, but it's still a physical reaction. You can't get away from it. You can't
what
get
are you
away from it.
talking
It's
about?
physical. If they're melting the snow, well, you're the one brought up
You're the one that
You're
asked
saying
me,
it's some
is there
aberration.
some unexplained phenomena where you can explain where the heat is coming from, basically? Well, I said,
No,
yeah.
that was 10th man. 10th man asked. 10th man said that. Well, no, I didn't say that. I said I didn't. He said, is there like something that you can construct out of your mind? Oh, I guess you could say that, one sense of the word. But so his mind is causing that. The mind is the cause of that, causing his physical reaction. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe. The mind, the
So,
spirit,
But there's
is
a
you have
physical
to bring
reaction, though,
yourself in a
occurring.
certain state for it. It
so if
requires a
that's the
focus, so they say.
so if that's the case, and if that's the only explanation you got, then if we remove the monk, does the snow melt if he's not there?
Yeah,
there's
the
a
snow
good
will
one.
start piling in again, definitely.
What?
Where
Always
he
been.
stood and the snow was molten, if he goes away, then the snow will start piling up again, like it is,
Well, then you just
surrounding
proved
him.
Paul's point.
He
Then
has
you're
to.
just proving Paul's point.
What?
He said there. 10th man said, would the snow keep melting even after the monk is gone?
No, no.
Okay, so there's a physical monk causing the snow to melt.
Well, there's a correlation between the monk's presence and that heat. Yeah.
You may not know the. Well, ultimately, you can say the monk caused the snow to melt, right?
Yeah, you could say it, but how do you prove it? You don't even know what causes the heat. It's not like the monk needs to eat more in order to like create that heat physically. That's one of the weird aspects about it. It seems to be completely bypassing normal
It's
physiology.
still a physical the melting of the snow and his heat radiating heat is still a physical
Yeah, but
manifestation.
you
If
don't
I
know
walk
where the
over and
energy
touch
is
him,
coming from.
I could feel.
But you don't know where the energy is coming from.
Well, we do, Arwin,
You're
because
Yeah.
we do, Arwin, because you just admitted when you remove the monk, the physical energy doesn't come anymore.
Yeah, look, I know the originating point is easily to be concluded coming from the monk, okay, as location-wise, but that doesn't mean that it is understood where the energy is actually coming from.
Yeah, have you ever heard of body heat?
Yeah, and I told you that's not it. Body heat requires metabolic energy consumption.
Right, sorry to interrupt. Shout out to Truth in Your Face, who says, "This isn't the greatest amount of dollars, but I'm going to think of it as the greatest amount of dollars." Thank you very much for your support, Truth in Your Face. Really appreciate it.
So is the monk a hologram, or is he physical that emanates heat until he dies?
Yeah, sorry, I'm not going down this straw man route. Sorry.
That's because I demonked you.
No.
He demonked you.
No, I
That's
thought
funny.
it's a fascinating phenomena. It's another
Hey,
mind interaction,
Owen,
theory,
because
okay? Just like the quantum mechanical effect.
Well, Arwin, the
you can
opposite
say
is
his mind caused.
the
I mean,
Well, he's
opposite.
obviously,
doing
every
it.
interaction is.
He does it.
Hold on. Every action that a person causes in this world is a product of their mind, which means I make a choice to move my hand. That's my mind telling my body what to do. A monk could probably tell his body to raise his body temperature. A woman can just think about breastfeeding a child, just think about it, and they will start lactating.
Right.
Obviously, we all know what happens if you think about sex. There's some physiological responses that occur in every human being when they think about sex. So there's the mind has a lot of control of what goes on in the body. So you can
You're
ultimately say
telling
it's the
me,
mind that's causing that. I know I'm not that with the ultimate. This whole thing started back with the sun. Is the sun physical? I mean, that muck is a physical presence in the snow. It's somebody I could walk up and touch the muck, and somehow we don't know fully what's causing that, but he is melting the snow around him.
Yep.
And that's a physical thing that we can talk about. How does that relate to the sun, which is the original part of this? The sun, there's something. The sun has a physical property because I feel the heat, I see the light. There's something, but
Really?
can I go up there and touch it? No, I can't. Well,
Does the sun have that physical property?
it's no different than the
Does
mud.
the light emanating from that direction have that physical property? Because the only physical property that I can attribute to the apparent sun is that when you look at it, you kind of go blind from the intensity of the assumed light.
So can we say
Okay.
the effect is
What are you
only
looking at? What are you
physical?
looking at it with? What are you looking at it with?
Eyes.
Okay. What are the eyes? Are they not one of your five senses?
Optical senses. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So if you're seeing the sun through your eyes, you're engaging the physicality of that reality, of that thing.
No. You're interacting with the physical nature of light hitting your eyes.
Light is physical. There's a
Oh
physical aspect
really?
to light.
Oh really? Is light physical?
That's
Okay.
what the quantum eraser
Yeah, that's
experiment is
bullshit.
showing.
That's
There's,
bullshit.
okay.
I
I think
reject
QE needs
that
to come in.
notion.
Okay.
Light does not have a speed. Light is not a unit that is indivisible in nature. There's no proof of
But
that.
you can see it interacting on physical objects all the time.
Oh,
I'm looking at
absolutely. And
light
that is
hitting my
how it
neck.
was originally
So there's a
deduced that
physical.
light should have a minimum energy quanta, but that's only based on the nature of
Are you
material
perceiving
that
it
is
through your
indivisible.
five? Are you seeing it through your five senses?
Light?
Yes. Is it a mental construct, or are you sensing it through your five senses?
I don't know. Well, yes, I guess, but it's tough because you could also say, no, you don't actually see the light. You only see the light's interaction with matter. Otherwise, it's just blindness.
Is matter physical, or is it a mental construct?
No, it's physical, definitely.
Okay, so we're there's a nature of light that's physical. There's a nature to the sun that's physical.
Really? Is it? I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that light may be
The law of
derived.
the law of
I think light
non-contradiction
may
is
be
starting to fall into
derived.
play here.
Wow. Okay. So I think light may be derived from material in energy conditions,
So
just
it's
like
physical.
electricity. But there's no proof to me that they are indivisible units or that they have speeds. I think any interaction with material causes the material basically to probably have a delay as a counter response as the light or electricity manifests, but I don't think that light and electricity is particles moving. I think the connection is instantaneous.
Okay, sorry to interrupt again. Shout out to another retarded atheist talks word salad. He says, say my name, yeah, acting kinda crazy, ... How do I get to the after show, Sir Oakley? Definitely not Sir. The after show runs at 10 PM daily on the second channel. Over the weekend it runs on the main channel. So if you're subscribed to both Nathan Oakley and Nathan Oakley 1980, there is a live show every day at 2 PM UK time and an after show every day at 10 PM UK time. So that's how you get to the after show. Sorry to interrupt. Thanks for the super chat.
Now, see, Erwin, I think what you're doing is you're confusing. Like, it's obvious that the light is physical. You're talking about the nature of what that light is a different question. Okay, but it's still physical because you're perceiving it through your five senses.
No.
It's not a construct of the mental faculty. The difference between physical, it says it in the definition. I've still got it up.
No. Perception
Relating to things
light is
perceived through the
physical
five.
interaction. Light is not a physical.
Then I shouldn't be able to sense it with my five senses.
I disagree.
I mean, the definition is very clear. If you don't agree with this definition, then we need to change the definition. Relating to things perceived through the senses as opposed to the mind, tangible or concrete.
Right. Okay.
It's not physical. It's a product of your mind.
Yes. This is another battle. It's just a waste of everyone's time. Yes. Okay. In this very specific context of ethereal or conceptual, light is physical. Are you happy now?
Yay!
Jesus Christ! Let's
thank you,
move
Erwin.
on. Okay.
Are we gonna debate Globus today?
Lord of Lords, when you
I was
use
just
that
about to
name.
do some intros. So, hey to Virus, can you hear us? The room is full, so if I don't get a reply from you, you're going to get kicked to the after show room, just so you know. Hello, can't read these bloody names. Artemis.
Alright.
Hey, Dawn.
Aramis, I can hear you.
Aramis, good to have you. Babs, can you hear us?
Babs.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
We do. And hello, Dawn. Brenda,
I'm
rather.
here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Maybe we should just rephrase it. Light is physical, but it's not matter. There you go.
Well, hopefully we'll get some interaction from Discord. We shall see.
Yeah, photons are energy.
Photons is a concept.
No, photons aren't a
Yes.
concept.
No, photons is a concept.
If
I
light
thought it
is
was a
physical,
couch.
so the sun must be physical too.
Didn't you just have this argument 2 seconds ago? Literally 2 seconds ago.
And
Yeah.
you conceded.
And you conceded at the end. What's
I
going
didn't.
on? Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't, Nathan. I said in the context of conceptual and ethereal, right? In that context, I will indeed place it in the physical realm, but it's not material.
It's just bloody word
It's
salad.
not units. It's not particles moving at speeds. It's an instantaneous energy connection, and the energy amount can be infinitely divided. There is no minimum unit. Just not true.
Energy is a part of our
Approval.
physical universe, Arwen.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, and in that sense, it's physical. It's just not matter. Not a
Right.
I say
particle.
Energy is not matter. Nobody disagrees
Light
with
is
that.
not matter. It's not a particle.
Energy is not matter.
Can I say something? So what?
So what? Don't you know about a giant amount of calculus-based extrapolations that have come out of quantum mechanics based specifically on the presupposition of light being particles traveling at speeds? It's incredible.
Well,
No, it
light
is.
is actually a wave, not a
Vast
particle.
amount of
Oh, and are you
mathematical
saying
extrapolations with crazy conclusions like light being physically present at two places at the same time or that kind of nonsense.
So
Well,
Arwen,
because
have
it's a
you?
wave, it can be.
sorry?
Well, because light is a wave, you can have those effects.
Oh, yeah, Randa, sure it is.
I wouldn't say it's a
Well,
wave.
light's
but-
a wave. That's been proven.
Okay, I'll let you guys take this. This is below me.
I just want to sum up Owen's point. The sun it isn't hot and isn't matter, but we can think of it as hot matter.
You can think of it as whatever you want. To me,
Well, the
it's
sun is
a
obviously
apparent
hot.
disk at the epicenter of the daylight direction.
Arwen, you
Or
said
would you
this.
agree with the definition I posted?
Daylight direction. What the hell, man? The daylight direction. You
Yeah,
mean the
that's
sun?
just gibberish.
The
It's just
direction from which
gibberish.
the daylight comes, you know?
You mean the sun?
Oh, yeah, the sun. I know you love to call it sunlight because that suggests naturally that it is a physical object like a lamp actually radiating that. But I dispel that.
Just to be different and contrarian, you make up your own sun
No,
ideas.
no, it is daylight, isn't it? It's the light of the day, right? So it's daylight. That's the actual thing you interact with. Now, by calling it sunlight, you automatically assume that the sun is a physical object that radiates that light like a lamp. And I'm saying no. I think the sun is a natural optical side effect of looking at the direction from which the daylight is coming.
That's just gibberish.
Claim support.
Gibberish to you, not
Support.
to me.
Claim and support, and then rebuttal. What's the support, Arwen? You
My
can't say.
point is that there's only optical perceivings of the sun, and there's no proof of angular size change that are directly proving any proximity of any kind. It's
Well, then-
optical.
well, then
There's
don't-
no signs of any physicality except for the daylight interaction.
This just isn't
Paul-
true, Owen. You haven't looked into
Paul,
the
Paul and Don could say the same
Support your
thing,
claim.
but Paul and Don, hang on. Paul puts up words for us to know what the meanings are. Don could do what you're doing and just give his opinion. You made a claim. Now, where's the support that's not emanating from you?
Gave his support. He said there's no evidence of any physical interaction. That's a positive claim. Well, he's not going to prove a negative, but he can make that assertion. That's his claim. That's his backing for his claim. You can't make him prove a negative in that regard. You can't prove that you can't touch it, but somebody who challenges him on this can say, yes, you can. Well, what you got? Anybody who wants to challenge Arwen on that? Because I'm definitely not going to.
No, that's not what I'm not addressing it to that. I can't touch it either. Well, because I'm here and it's too far away from me. My point was Arwen said this. Hang on. My point was Arwen did that thing we talked about the other day when people say, you just don't know enough. Arwen said this discussion's below me. I'm above this. That's what I'm addressing.
Okay,
How can
well,
he say that?
Hold on,
That
10th
was-
man. Hold on.
it's-
Hold on,
that
hold on,
wasn't
Owen.
answered
Owen.
by that
Hold on,
question.
hold on. Owen's made his claim. It's pretty clear. He's given his support. If anybody wants to challenge the physicality of the sun, then no worries. I'm all for it. Let's hear it. Let's see it.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Well, Paul did with the descriptions, and Arwen danced around it, then conceded, then unconceded.
That's not proving the physical nature of the sun. That was semantics concerning the physical, perceivable world opposing the purely conceptual idea.
I don't know who I
world.
agree with here. Because getting burnt and solar energy, I would say that's a type of physical reaction, but it's not. Doesn't prove that the sun
Oh,
is
really?
physical. I don't think, does it?
Okay, I'll
Prove
go
that
back to what I
daylight
said.
is
Hold on.
actually being
Hold
absorbed in doing.
on. Hold on. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay, I define what physical was. Physical is what you enter. It's a perception of your five senses. I see the sun. The sun is physical because I'm seeing it with my five senses. Proof done. Rebut.
Yeah, sorry, that's semantic red herring.
It's not a red
Well, you
herring.
just
Yeah, it
deny
is.
any point that people
and
make.
Yes,
semantics.
it is. You
we
have
talk
no
about
proof of
semantics.
physicality. You're just using semantics.
No, you just
What
deny
el-
everything. That's all you do.
What else could it be, Alan?
Defining the words. The semantics is defining the words and going from that. So now you're using the very thing the Globarger is saying that we're doing is doing semantics. You have to define the terms. Remember, we've talked about science is rigorous. You have to define the terms. I define the terms. You agreed with that term.
Okay,
I see the sun.
fine. If you're gonna be like this,
My sight.
the sun is not a material object. Okay, satisfied now?
Okay, he's redefined
yeah,
his.
yeah.
Hold on.
Material.
Hold on. Look, he's redefined his term. He's saying it's not material.
So define material.
No, you define
No,
material.
go on. Owen, you've used that
No,
word.
that's your-
Hold on.
It's in the
Just everyone calm
list.
down. Don't be unreasonable.
Not unreasonable.
Well, what does material mean? Define it.
Physical, approachable, touchable, interactable, all these aspects, all the aspects that I've been naming. You can't call it physical because
Hold
apparently
on.
light
I don't need the
also-
word salad on top. I'm pretty sure Paul's now Google searching it. Am I right?
I guess I'd say it has physical properties, but proving it's
yeah,
physical
sure.
itself is hard.
Sure it does. What's the physical property you can name?
Well, heat and light.
Oh, really? Is that a physical property?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Is it?
Right. Hold on, Dawn. Hold on, Arwin. Right, Paul, you're on mute at the moment.
Okay. Material, the matter from which a thing is or can be made. Facts, information, or ideas from use in creating a book or other work. So I think the first definition would be applicable to this, the matter from which a thing is or can be made. Would you agree with that definition?
Yes. Also, I'd like to emphasize that there might be a actual source of this light. What I'm specifically saying is that the apparent sun disk is not a material object. That's my final on that.
I'm sorry, there's a bit of a loose end. So, where do you two, I'm talking to Arwin and Paul, sit in regards to matter if you're going to describe light as matter or not, depending on the circumstances of each individual?
Nope.
Well, you go first, Darwin. You just said no. Hold on, Paul. You said no. What do you mean no?
Well, I'm not talking about the sunlight even. I'm talking about the apparent phenomena.
I understand
sun
that. Owen, let me just hold on, Owen. I just want to get clarity, right? You're saying light's not matter, right?
It's not like atomic
just
matter.
need a yes. Just need a yes. Right. The first two words in material, you're saying it's not material. The first two words of the definition, the matter. There's a problem there, Arwin.
What do you mean?
Well, if you're saying light isn't matter, well, I suppose you're not going to have a problem here. It's going to be Paul, isn't it?
Yeah.
My bad, Arwin. Paul, you'll have an issue here. I knew it was one of you. I just didn't know who. My bad. I forgot who was saying it wasn't.
Well, I'll define, see,
sorry, Paul. I interrupted you. Go ahead, Paul. Sorry.
And I addressed this already, but nobody probably caught it, or didn't catch it either. He was describing what the nature of light is. Now, that's a different question.
That's right.
The physicality of light is very different. And I don't, but I would say if I was to define matter here, which I can go to the next level and define matter, like my chair I'm sitting in is made out of something physical that I can touch, so the matter of it. Well, if light is, say, a magnetic frequency, whatever, then you can say the matter, the matter from which light, the material from which light is made is a magnetic frequency or whatever. if you want to go with what Brenda said, it's some physical thing, or whoever said, then it's the matter from which that thing is made. But that still doesn't address, you haven't still gotten away from the fact that all those things can be sensed with your five senses.
Yes, and I already concede
So it's still
that
physical.
in that specific context, it's physical. It's just not matter. The sun is not matter. Whatever we see with our eyes every time we look.
Okay,
in the
no,
direction
so it
of
does just
daylight,
boil down to this. Hold on.
Matter.
Just boil down to you saying that light is not matter. Just look at at quanta. You said it. You used the word in this debate. So look up quanta and what it means.
Yeah. That's an
I'm
amount.
Googling and it says
Amount of energy.
there's
Energy
light and heat
quanta.
aren't
Hold
matter.
on. An amount of stuff
That's
you said.
energy
Hold on.
interaction, energy exchange. I know all about it.
An amount of. So it's stuff then. So it's stuff.
No,
Amount of energy.
it's energy.
Right? And
Matter
so it's
only
stuff then.
really becomes matter when it applies to the limitations of matter, which is that at some point you can't divide up the atoms, the particles any further without distorting its properties. Light doesn't do that. There's no proof of that. You
I mean,
can
it's not.
split it up.
Doesn't mean it's not
Energy.
matter.
You
doesn't
can
mean it's
split
not
up
stuff.
light indefinitely.
Okay, you're saying it's not. Your only beef here is because you're saying light isn't matter.
You can split light up indefinitely? Really? Show.
Yeah, try prism.
Show.
Tone down the amount of energy.
Show.
You'll see
No,
There's
let's be more
Claim
specific.
support.
No, hold on. Split it. Show us quanta being divided down. Arwin.
the quanta really only becomes relevant in the eventual physical interaction of the light when it's absorbed. That's the only way you can even register it. And at that process, with that quanta absorption, the light is always going to be bound by the physical nature of the material that is absorbing it.
That's not the question.
So?
That's not the
What
question.
the hell
question,
does that mean?
Yeah, that's not the question. Can you show us anything that displays that quanta's divisible?
It goes against. It's a married bachelor.
John.
The quanta
Go
is
ahead.
divisible.
Yeah, but you've said light is always
But
divisible.
the registry, the amount, the way it's registered, okay, you can't split that up because there is simply a limit to the amount of energy that is required in order for the matter to actually change its state and register that light.
Okay, that's your
It's
claim.
bound by that.
Okay, I heard your claim.
Please let me
Okay,
elaborate.
stop. I heard your claim. Where's your support for it? Shout out to Peanuts Clark. How dare you use an optical phenomena to determine what the sun is? Hope you're doing well, Nathan Oakley. Thank you very much for the super chat, Peanuts Clark. Really appreciate your support.
Well, isn't that just the case? If there is a minimum registerable amount of energy,
No, let's not
What-
have an
what
affirm
is
the
the thing
consequence.
that
No,
will
no. Don't just affirm the
hold on, I'm not
consequence.
done yet. Okay, you
Oh,
can
well, you
actually
just, I can
split
hear what
you
you're
can
doing.
split up
It's,
light quanta
hold on,
into
I can hear what you,
amounts.
Arwin, I heard how you started the sentence. You started by affirming the consequent. So rather than giving support for your claim, you're now just affirming the consequent. So just give us your support for that assertion.
I was gonna basically explain a setup that could try to attempt, and it's not like I've physically done that. I don't have a freaking laboratory. I'm still digging here, okay? Just haven't seen any specific proof to the contrary, any conclusive evidence that there
Okay,
is
no worries. Well, let's just go back a step.
indivisible minimum
That's fine.
quanta.
That's fine. Let's go back a step. What's
No,
quanta?
I don't give a shit, John.
Ugh,
So
what's quanta?
spare yourself the effort.
What is quanta?
Quanta is an amount.
And your claim is that you can divide it.
Yeah. The claim is that the
John?
minimum registerable amount
Minimum,
light
you say?
can be narrowed down further if the material would allow it.
Can't be narrowed down further.
Oh, really?
No. By
Why-
definition.
how would you know? What if you
You're
divide
making.
it up?
Don't ask me. Oh, here we go. Now I'm being challenged to prove Arwin's claim. Don't put it on me,
No,
Arwin. Come
I'm
on.
trying to present some proof right here. Or
Your
at
claim.
least verbal proof. It's not an experiment.
Right, that's what
So
you've got.
one way to actually figure out if there is some kind of indivisible.
This
like
didn't start
quanta,
off as
a
an if.
unit that will travel through
Arwin, this did
paths,
not
whatever,
start
and
off
actually reach
as
the
an
end.
if. Arwin, it didn't start as an if.
Okay,
Now
okay.
it's become an
So
if,
I'm
hasn't
not
it?
gonna get it right.
Well, you're just
Okay,
rumpusing.
that's fine. Bye.
Why are you rage quitting? Okay. This didn't start off as an if. It started off as an affirmative claim made by Arwin halfway through with a request for a backing of his assertion. He says if. And then rage quits. Well, I'm not going to have any sympathy for that. No, sorry. None.
I actually wanted to ask him, can light have atomic bonding?
He was contradicting himself with every statement he made. I'd like to get to the particle physicist Brenda, if I may.
Around. You there, Brenda?
Yeah, sure. What's your problem?
The particle physicist Brenda, who said light was a wave, and we've known this for what, hundreds of years? Really? From Richard Feynman. The first thing Newton believed light was corpuscular. Turned out that it had very strange properties from that point of view, and it was then explained that many of these strange properties was because, in fact, it was a wave, which was wrong. Turned out he was right. It was a particle. Number 2, Professor Shankar, chair of physics at Yale, particle physicist. Everything is really particles. All things. Electrons, photons, protons, neutrons. They are all particles. So let there be no doubt about that, Brenda. What do you got to say to that?
That's just an argument from authority.
No, that's not how
science works.
Is. These are subject
That's
matter
not how
experts
science...
in particle
Hold on, John.
physics.
Hold on. Brenda, go ahead.
That's not how science works. Science doesn't work by you citing somebody who has an opinion. That's not what science is.
What in the world? They do it by experiment.
Yeah,
He's
you're
just
just wrong
telling you-
for one thing.
Hold on, Brenda. Have you got anything further to your claim that
Yeah.
science isn't done like that? Or is that it?
Light interferes with itself. Only waves can interfere with themselves. So
Okay.
light is a wave.
Oh, hold on.
light
Hold
is a
on.
wave.
There's your claim. Now can you provide support for that claim? That doesn't mean repeat it 4 times or paraphrase it another couple of times, but support for that, please.
Support for that is the double slit experiment.
And how does that support your argument, Brenda? Take us through it.
Because the light passing through the double slits interferes with itself. That's
Okay.
the observation. Right. Therefore, light is a wave because only a wave can interfere with itself. Particles can't.
So what you think is that you're being shown on the double slit an actual wave as opposed to a probability distribution.
The distribution shows an interference pattern. An interference pattern is only produced by waves interfering with each other, right? With crest and trough canceling or reinforcing each other.
Okay.
Therefore, light is a wave.
Answer me this, Brenda. If you fire one quanta, how do you determine the wave form?
How do I determine the waveform?
With one particle of light. How do you determine the waveform with one particle?
A quantum of light is a wave packet. It's still a wave.
Do you want to explain how you can derive the wave function from one quanta, one particle of light? How do you get the waveform from that?
By measuring a large number of quantum of light.
Sorry, didn't you just hear my question? I said with one, not with a large quantity. Don't rearrange my question that absolutely craps over your idea that it's a wave. It's not. It's a probability distribution when fired through a double slit. That's not a wave. That's a probability distribution described mathematically as a wave. It's not actually described at all as a wave. It's described as a wave function. Do you know what a function is, Brenda.
Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. So
Stop.
what happens?
Sorry,
when
Brenda.
You
Brenda, my question is.
Yeah, you don't understand.
Brenda, don't
what
rumpus
you're
me
even
because you're
asking.
being battered. I'm asking a question. What is a function?
So the way that we know that quantum is a wave is by
It's not my
shooting
question.
one at a time.
It's not my
through the
question.
double
It's
slits,
not my
shooting
question.
One at a time
It's
through
not
the
my
double
question.
slit.
It's not. She's just ignoring me. She's answering a different question. Brenda, it's not a wave. It's a wave function. And I want you to tell me what the
wave function.
What's a function?
The wave function is the description.
What's a function?
What are you talking about?
The word function comes after the word wave when describing this probability distribution. And I want you to tell me what the word, in this context, function, means. Simple.
The wave function is a mathematical description of the...
Excellent. So it's a mathematical description and not a physical wave.
It's a description of a physical phenomenon.
It's a description of a probability distribution. That's what it is.
Now, the probability distribution shows that light behaves as a wave.
So really? Let me go back to my beginning then and say, with one quanta, how do you get the wave function from one particle of light?
You don't get the wave, the mathematical description of a single quantum based on a single data point.
Right, because it's not a wave. That's still light that you've measured, and you can't extract the mathematics of a wave function from one particle of light. It's still light, you just can't extract the mathematics from it with only one. That doesn't mean that one stops being a wave in your world. It's still light. You just can't derive the mathematical description from a single quanta.
Nathan, I have a question for you.
I don't give a crap what you've got. You've said light's a physical wave. It isn't. You're a bonehead. It's a mathematical description. It's called a wave function. It's not a wave. You are wrong.
What is the temperature of a...
I don't want any questions from you. You are wrong. It's not a physical wave. It's a mathematical description of a probability distribution. Absolutely, unequivocally, not a wave.
Temperature is a theoretical...
We're not talking about temperature. We're talking about light. We're talking about light that you've said is a wave. You are wrong. It's described mathematically as a wave function. That is not a physical wave, and with only a single particle, you cannot extract that mathematical description for the single particle of light that you have. So it's still light, and it's absolutely not a wave and cannot be derived mathematically into a wave function, but it's still light, and it's definitely not a wave. I want you to concede this, not talk to me about temperature, not rumpus the living shit out of me, but concede that you are wrong, because you are.
I waited until you were done. I waited until you're done. I didn't rumpus you.
Well, concede that you're wrong. Well, light is not a wave. That's a mathematical description of a probability distribution.
You're just asserting it. Prove that light is not a wave.
What does function mean?
It's a conceptual construct.
Conceptual. That's correct. Mathematical. Conceptual. A wave, I can surf that shit. I can get a surfboard out because it's something physical. A wave, it's waving. If I move my hand through the air, that's a wave because it's waving, it's physical. Yeah? Now, a mathematical reification of a wave, that's not a physical wave.
Into a physical thing. Waves aren't really... the ocean wave is composed of individual particles, right?
We're not talking about ocean waves. We're talking about light, which is absolutely not a wave. It's not comparable to a wave because it's not a wave. It's described mathematically as a wave function.
A wave function is a mathematical concept.
That's correct. A concept. Conceptual. I'm not going to be surfing on no concept, okay, Brenda? It's not a real thing. It's a mathematical description. I'll say it again for the 50,000th time. Light is not a wave.
No, you keep just saying that. You claim that. You assert that, but you can't prove it.
What's a function again, Brenda? Sorry, you're gonna back my argument again by telling me what a function is?
How does saying it's a function prove anything?
Because that's what it is. It's a
there's
wave
a function. There's a function.
You've
that
asked me a
explains
question. Now
ocean
you
waves.
are rumpusing me because you're being obliterated. Yeah, a mathematical description of something. Now, while you fundies can reify mathematics into reality, that would be a reification fallacy, and then describe it as a physical wave, you're just a fundamentalist zealot and you're wrong, and you don't understand what light is.
Ocean waves are described by...
Yeah, we're not talking about ocean waves, we're talking about light. It's not something physical. You're not going to equivocate here with an actual wave, because we're not talking about actual waves. We're talking about mathematical descriptions of things. In this case, probability distribution, and that's described as a wave function, not a wave.
You don't know anything about probability.
This wave function is a probability distribution. I absolutely know what I'm talking about. You, on the other hand, have reified a mathematical description, in this case, wave function, into a physical thing, wave. It's not. You're just wrong.
An ocean wave is described by a
I'll say it a third time.
Function.
We are not talking about ocean waves. We are talking about light, which is described mathematically as a wave function. A mathematical description for a probability distribution, not a physical wave. Don't want to hear about waves in the ocean.
Slowly,
they are not comparable.
Waves aren't comparable to other waves?
Not to wave functions, which are mathematical descriptions of probability distributions. No, Brenda.
Wave functions are perfectly descriptive.
You stuttering fool. Look, we're talking about mathematical descriptions, wave functions, not waves.
Wave functions
You're just wrong.
Ocean waves and sound waves and radio waves and light waves.
It may very well be applicable to describe them, but that's what mathematics does. It's described. Fundamentalist religious zealots, unfortunately, reify some of these mathematical descriptions into actuality. That's called a reification fallacy, Brenda. Something that you are absolutely guilty of right this second. And with that, I'll say if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. However, if you're watching this live on Nathan Oakley 1980, unfortunately, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on the premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!